Today, we're facing great challenges. Large emissions threaten to ruin the environment and change our climate. In a country like Sweden, hundreds of thousands have no jobs, while many with a job work more than they can manage. Furthermore, many modern work tasks can seem devoid of meaning and substance. How could an economic democracy deal with these kinds of challenges?
Problemet idag är ju att produktionen faktiskt inte gör oss lyckligare längre, inte i vår del av världen. Vi producerar mer och mer, men det här med höjt lyckoindex och levnadsnivå och så vidare, det ger ingen effekt där. Snarare kan man ana motsatsen. Vi liksom äter mer och mer psykofarmaka, mer och mer antidepressiv medicin och så vidare. Så frågan är, gör det oss lyckligare? Det är också så med arbetet att när produktiviteten ökar hela tiden och arbetstiden är konstant, så måste vi hela tiden hitta på nya saker att producera. Nya saker och tjänster, ofta saker som det inte finns något behov för utan som man måste skapa behov för genom reklam inte minst. Så mer och mer arbete blir meningslöst i någon mening. Det är svårt att se vad det egentligen tjänar till. Men det viktiga då är att inte bara att man inte ifrågasätter det, utan att man till och med uppbådar en entusiasm inför det här meningslösa. Att man lär sig att hålla sig väl med rätt personer enligt det som vi kallar för social kompetens. Men det är ändå den mest fundamentala faktorn, den viktigaste egenskapen om du ska hålla dig kvar på arbetsplatsen. Och just det där med skillnaden på att göra jobbet och på att få det att se ut som att du gör jobbet väldigt bra, den blir viktigare och viktigare som jag ser det.
Vi har ju en galopperande utveckling av utslagning från arbetslivet som handlar om utbrändhet, utmattningsdepressioner och så. Väldigt mycket av detta förefaller vara kopplat till att människor inte känner att de är respekterade, har inflytande och är delaktiga på sin arbetsplats.
You get this paradox under capitalism. I don't know if you see it here nearly so much as you do in the United States, but people that have jobs now not only feel like they're working harder than ever, the data shows they are working harder than ever. They're putting in longer hours, they're working more intensely because you got a lot of employment, so the employer can just squeeze you, okay? So you got people that are working feel like they're overworked. Then you got all these unemployed people, you know. That's kind of weird.
Your grandfather was a powerful man, yet his strength equaled only 1/10 of a horsepower. You have hundreds of horsepower in this costly giant of a machine to multiply your strength and efficiency 1,000 times.
If the new technology is coming online, it means you can produce more stuff with less labor. Now, the capitalist way of doing this is, well, we'll just lay off a bunch of people. But a democratic firm, well, how about let's just work fewer hours, okay? Let's spread this around. Let's shorten, the work day. Let's have longer vacations, these kinds of things. This would be the rational thing to do. And you can do that in a democratic economy, economic democracy. You can make those kinds of choices. You don't have those choices under capitalism. There's this problem in a capitalist firm is you've got owners and you've got workers, and their interests are opposed. From the worker's point of view, you'd like to make as much money as possible and frankly do as little work as possible. The capitalist wants to get as much work out of you as possible and pay you as little as possible, okay? How do you maintain discipline in a capitalist enterprise? In the good old days of slavery, you could just whip people, okay? Or good old days of feudalism, you could just send the troops in and burn the village if they're not sending up, the appropriate amount of grain. You can't do that anymore, okay? What do? You got to be able to fire people, And firing people has to have consequences. If you have full employment, getting fired, hey, I'll just go across the street and get another job, The discipline breaks down. Power then resides with workers, not with the owners, okay? So you've got to have unemployment, and that unemployment's got to be, pretty miserable. That's why, you also need poverty in capitalist countries. I mean, there's this strange phenomenon that the richest country in the world, it has this, 20% of the population below the poverty line. I mean, how could this be, we're twice as rich as we were back in the 1970s, and the poverty rate is higher now than it was then. How could that be, Well, maybe poverty plays a role, a disciplinary role. But a democratic economy doesn't need that disciplinary function, because in a democratic firm, the interest of every worker is tied to how well the company does. Because workers don't get a salary, a wage, you get a share of the profits. So it's in your interest for the company to do well. Immediate interest, it's in your interest to see that your coworkers are working effectively, which, by the way, is one of the reasons the studies of cooperatives tend to show that they're more efficient. They don't need as many supervisory personnel because workers police themselves, because we're all in this together. It's important. So you don't have to worry about how to discipline. You can still fire somebody that's coming into work late every day or something like that, but you don't have this systemic need to discipline the workforce, okay? Which means you could have full employment.
Even for ecological reasons, right? When you have a business that's rooted in its community and owned by local community residents, they're much less likely to be polluters or to do things against the environment, because they're living in the backyard of where they're working, and they're working to make their life better, so why would they ruin a piece of their community? So if you're even worried about environmental sustainability, co-ops have that connection also.
And then a big one is you're in an economy that doesn't have to keep growing, okay? This whole phenomenon of environmental degradation that capitalism cannot solve, you can hope that there's going to be a miracle technology invented, that is going to allow us to just keep consuming forever, hopefully the tooth fairy comes or something, Capitalist enterprises try to maximize profit, okay? Democratic enterprises tend to maximize profit per worker. Okay, you're the entrepreneur, you get some people together, you set up, a restaurant, you make money, $10,000 this year. Well, then set up another one. And then you'll make $20,000. Set up another one. You'll make $30,000. You'll have McDonald's pretty soon. You'll be a billionaire, okay? But if you're in a democratic firm, exactly the same firm, producing the same Big Macs and everything else, very successful. Are you going to set up another one? Well, if you did, yeah, you'd make twice the profit, but there'd be twice as many people to divide it up among. So you're not going to make any more. So it's a different kind of competition. It's very interesting. You're still competing. You don't want to lose your market share. So if another enterprise comes up with a good idea that's starting to take your customers, you want to copy that or figure out what they're doing. That's what I think of as healthy competition. Okay, but you don't want to drive your competitor out of business. Why would you do that? Then you're going to have to double the size of your work. It's not going to do you any good.